Yanki and Brit, the RTM Radio Network. How you doing tonight? Special guest Howard Salmon's with us right now. Howard, how you doing, buddy?
I am here.
There
he is.
What's going on over there?
Well, I'm not too far away. I'm only just down the road from you today.
Oh, you in Arlington?
Well, yeah. Well, no, actually, I'm down in Fort Worth. I've already made my delivery in Arlington this morning, yeah, and I came over to Fort Worth, and, man, I tell you, I've had a great day today. I got to tell you about it in a bit.
Did you get over to Cowtown and get yourself some cowgirls?
They're a little too big for me to pick up today, so I left the cows alone. So I decided to come on over here to Fort Worth. You know, I stumbled on an air show, by the way.
Oh,
you did?
yeah?
Do tell.
Oh, my gosh, it was great. They had the Blue Angels.
I didn't hear anything about it.
Acrobat, a lot of aircraft doing whatever they did. And because driving a semi-truck in a business park area, they look at you as either you have to make a delivery or a pickup. So they run everybody else off, and I was right there on the curb looking at the back of this airfield, and I couldn't believe it. I had the Blue Angels going right over the top of me. This is the best speed in the house.
Ain't that sweet? Boy, that's nice to luck into something like that.
It really was. They asked us to move away from the back of that one row to kind of give them an area that in case they had issues, they wanted to be able to have that one little road to land in.
Oh, so
I was happy to do that. So I moved back about 100 yards, and I had the best seat in the house.
So if they were going to crash and burn, you had a front row seat.
I didn't want to crash and burn, but I did face my truck forward toward the airstrip due to the fact that I do have a camera on the front of my truck, and I actually had to clean my windshield off, get the bugs off, just so I could have a good view in case of, God forbid, any of them do have a problem. I didn't want that to happen, but if they had a little incident, I'd catch it right on film.
There you go. Man that's always prepared.
There you go.
You could have come up here and had a cup of British tea instead.
Well, now let me guess. Now that British tea has some pretty good cream in it, doesn't it?
It does.
Somebody gave me that a long time ago. So here, try this. And I was hooked on it at the time. I loved it.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry about the noise.
I know Randy's messing around with the microphone in front of my head and
I thought you might have belched after having some tea there. I wasn't sure what happened.
So, tell us a little bit about yourself. Who are you and where'd you come from?
Yes, Michelle's in the chat room and she says, "Excuse my ignorance, sir, but who the devil are you?"
Yeah, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, let's see. I've been out here. I served the military. I went in the Army back in 1976. Back in 79, I got out of the Army. Then I went in the Air Force in 80. Got out of the Air Force in 84. Drove a truck from 84. And now serving the country driving a truck. Obviously, truck drivers are very important in our lives. We do have to take care of our country. Obviously, you know that, as well as a lot of the drivers out here know. So I've been out here faithfully for 31 years driving a truck. And that's what I've done.
Wow. How'd you get into truck driving? Did you have it in your family?
No. I rode along with my mom and dad in the back of a Jeep, and every time we passed the truck, I'd do the old hit the horn little thing, and I smiled every time a trucker hit the horn. And from that point, I was always hooked with the way the trucks were and how they truck drivers are always, like the knights of the road. And that was kind of a nice thing to kind of blend back into. When I went in the military, I started driving in the military as well. So if you count another 7 years, well, I've been out, I guess I've been driving nearly 38 years.
That's a busy man. How many miles you think you got in?
Well over 3.5 million, I'm sure. This truck here alone, I bought brand new in 98. I've already got 2.2 million on this one. The truck I sold prior to this, I put over 600,000 on that. The company that I worked for about 6 or 7 years, I logged well over 1 million miles on that. And not counting all of the military driving and driving in between the long-haul trucking. I drove a lot of dump trucks, cement mixers, a lot of stuff like that over the road. And so I was quite busy. So I'm guessing well over 3.5, close to 4 million.
When you drive for the military, what exactly do you do as far as driving? I mean, is that just moving equipment, or do you get to haul things out into the battlefield, or what's that all about?
I was a wrecker operator in the Army. I would go out, I'd follow the convoys with the tow truck. I'd pick up, burned up, crashed up, whatever happened to a vehicle. I'd pick it up and get it back to the maintenance area and keep on going. I would do that. Also in the Army and the Air Force, I learned to drive pretty much everything. So I would haul tanks around on a flatbed. I would drive buses. I would shuttle generals around in a limousine, or in an actual they're sedan, they call them. They're more like a limo, but a pretty nice vehicle. I'd drive a general around, and then I ended up being a colonel's driver in a Jeep. And thank God for being a colonel's driver in a cold state of Kansas in the wintertime. My Jeep was the only one. Actually, I should say the colonel's Jeep was the only one that had a heater in it. And, buddy, I tell you what, I pull over to an area where they're doing the howitzers, letting off their artillery, and I'd be having my friends jumping in the seat trying to stay warm for a few minutes. So, I had a pretty good experience doing what I did. And I spent some time over in Korea and the Air Force. I did a full term in California, which I flew out quite often for relief. For Grenada, I was on my way over to Grenada, but we stopped at Fort Pope, North Carolina, and they had to get a couple guys prior to me over there immediately. I ended up staying over there. So I ended up not in any battle time during the time I was in. I was in the peacetime. But we had a few little conflicts, and I was happy to do what I could do to try to support our country.
Well, regardless of whether you were in battle or not, from me, and I'm sure a lot of other listeners, thanks for serving.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for the other drivers and the other folks out there for serving also. I really appreciate all they've done.
I think Donna has a question for you.
So how did you get into music? I mean, we've been listening to some of your tunes recently, and they're pretty damn good. How did you get into music?
Let's see. Back in, I believe it was 92, while I was driving trucks, local, of course, I started tinkering around and started writing my first tune. But prior to that, in the Air Force, back in 82, I believe it was, 81, 82, I was talked to by some folks, to join the choir band for the church in the Air Force. Well, I thought I'd have fun, play some music, and have some fun, with everybody. And I started doing some music with a friend of mine. And this gal, by the way, she and I eventually did the second album I have out right now. She and I did a duet album together. But I've known this lady for well over 30-plus years. And she got me interested in the music and told me to keep going, keep it up. So I really didn't know if I'd ever really pursue it as far as I had, but I tried to and started doing a lot more music, and it became a passion of mine. So in 82, I wrote my very first song, and they started flowing out of me real quick. So between 82 and 84, I had already written about 7 or 8 songs, and that's the music that I have on my first album. The album is called These Trucks Are Made of Gold.
Where do you write your songs at? I mean, do you write them while you're sitting in the truck, and how do you get your ideas? They just pop into your head, or you have some method?
There's no method. There's no method at all. It'll hit you at the strangest times. I've woken up in the middle of the night and had to jot down a couple lyrics. I'd wake up in the morning and say, where the heck did this come from in my dreams? But it was something I'd keep aside and put it there. And there have been other times, such as one of my songs called Soldiers and Truckers. I'll tell you a nice little story about that, which was, most of my songs, by the way, are actually true stories of my life. Soldiers and Truckers was a very solid song. I was at the Dallas Truck Show. The day before the show started, we had about, 11 to 13 of the convoy ambassadors having dinner at the Outback Steakhouse in Dallas, Texas. Well, one of our drivers, as most drivers are, we have versatile little hobbies we do. Some are singers, some do all kinds of little knickknacks and hobbies or whatever. This guy here is a clown. He likes to make balloons, and he was blowing up balloons, making little animals. Well, we were running them around to the kids in the Outback Steakhouse there, and the waiter came up to us and asked if he would make a balloon for the guy at the bar, and he told him that he's a soldier going overseas tomorrow. And I looked at David, I said, hey, why don't you make a big one? We'll all sign it, and we'll take it over to him. He said, good idea. So he made this big, flowery-looking little, concoction what he made. He handed it to me, and so I signed it. I passed it around the table. He signed it, finally. He handed it back to me. He said, here, it's your idea. We'll follow you. I said, come on, guys, let's go. Well, all this lined up, and about that time, everybody was looking, saying, what is going on? What is going on here? And I tapped the kid on the shoulder, and I said, soldier, I'd like to shake your hand and thank you for what you're doing for us. I handed him that balloon. Well, he didn't know what to say. He just kind of looked like he had a lump in his throat, and everybody shook his hand. People came out of their booths, buying him a beer or shaking his hand or whatever, just coming over saying thank you. Before I got back to the table, I said, guys, there's a song here. I'm going to write it. The next morning, I started writing it. I started going through some cornfields up in Iowa, and I wrote this verse. They stood in line to shake his hand. He looked so very proud. The soldier who was sitting there, he seemed to draw a crowd. He talked with all the truckers there. He knew they'd understand. He'd rather be in fields of corn than in a desert of sand. And them words started to flow that made that song. It took a couple days to write that one, but some of my songs have only taken no more than 30 minutes to write. The very first song I wrote, called Who Would They Look Up To, took 30 minutes to write. It just hit me so hard, so fast, and I wrote it. A song, Wishy Washy Woman, took me about an hour. I wrote that for an ex-girlfriend, and it's a true story. Every one of these songs I've written are true stories. They are about my life.
Well, the Soldiers and Truckers is a hell of a tune, and that's a hell of a way to come about getting some lyrics, I'll tell you that.
It was very heartfelt, and no doubt that song has strong meaning. And that was actually the very first time when I actually had written that song. I had not gotten it out yet. I had only roughly had a demo music cut on it for me. A fellow down in Nacogdoches, Texas, he had the demo made for me, sent it up to me, and then I said, okay, that's cool. That's what I'm looking for right there. So all I had was a demo. And about that time, we were going on the Bozo cruise down out of Florida. And our guests on that cruise was Willie T. Richardson. He's the phone prankster. And we had Gene Watson as another guest. Very big artist, obviously. He's just incredible music. Well, Willie T. Richardson and I sat down at a table for lunch one day on that cruise, and he was going to perform that song for me. But he looked at me and says, you know, Howard, he said, I'm not going to do that song tonight. I says, you're not? He says, no, you are. Rehearsal is at 6 o'clock. You go on with me at 8. I said, well, thanks a lot. He said, you're welcome.
There you go.
I didn't mean it. I'm like, good. I said, well, thanks a lot. So here I was. Okay, well, I didn't have the first clue of actually how to do the song. I had not sang that song yet. I had just had a rough idea of how to do it. But I went ahead and I did sound check. 8 o'clock, he does his show. 8:30, he introduces me. Well, obviously, here I am, a yahoo out of nowhere, and he introduces me. Here's Howard Salmon, and I hear maybe one or two people going clap, 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 just as a courtesy, you know. And it was kind of like, okay, here I go, and I'm going to disappoint everybody. Well, I stood up there, I sang that song, and I'm looking right there in the front row at Gene Watson. Now this is kind of like really a strange thing. I thought Gene Watson was supposed to be up here singing, and I was supposed to be down there. Well, the roles had reversed, and I'm singing to Gene Watson. That's not right. But at the end of that, I started seeing a lot more flash bulbs going off, and I couldn't believe it. It was noisy at the end of that song. I had a standing ovation. I didn't even realize it.
Really?
And when I got back down, drivers, some of these guys were in tears and stopping me on the way back to my seat. They told me, they said, we've never had a song to thank the soldiers here for what we've done. He said, this is the first time I've ever heard something like that. He said, that hit my heart. Well, one of these guys also was a Marine. He hunted me down on that ship. He said, I've got to give you something. He gave me one of his challenge coins that I keep with me also. I have that. And that meant a lot to me because I touched his heart as well. And so I decided to go ahead and record it. A friend of mine recorded it first. She did a nice version of it, Carissa Amberly. Well, she did the first version of it, and we went to the truck show that next year, and I heard my song on the radio for the very first time with Carissa doing it through the Bill Mack show. And to have a song that you have actually written on the radio for the very first time, it was quite a thrill.
That must be quite a feeling.
Buddy, I was laughing and crying at the same time. You know how you cry of happiness. This is how I felt. That something that meant so much to me actually had gotten out on the radio, and I felt very proud of that.
As you should. So, I think it's a great tune.
Yeah.
You know, you had mentioned earlier that you had partnered up with a lady friend of yours. Is that the same woman that was in the Wishy Washy video with you?
No. This lady that did Soldiers and Truckers also with me on the album, she's also a truck driver. She's out of Virginia. Her and her husband, now her name is Alana Russell. I said, well, sure, why don't you go ahead and just, let's put you into it as well. Have a little piece of the CD here. Now, what we were trying to do is actually get this CD out for our troops. We weren't trying to do anything but let them have something nice. So she teamed up with me, and she did the first verse. I thought that was okay. And I finished up on second verse, and we put it together. Now that was, that's Alana Russell. The gal that did Wishy Washy Woman, her name is Carissa Amberly out of, Longview, Texas. She was 15 years old when she did that song. So her voice was incredible.
Yeah,
Sounds
I guess.
Like
That's her voice singing with you in the video then.
Now that lady in the video is a TV show host that does a ladies surfing show in Hawaii. Her name is Corey Harvey. I asked Corey if she would like to do a video with me. She liked the song, so she sang along with the vocal of it.
Uh-huh.
But that was not her singing it. But that she did the video with you, and she did a great job of the video. And I loved it. It was great. So we had fun doing this,
It looks like it. It's a Country Saturday Night with special guest Howard Salmon on the RTM Radio Network. We're just chatting along here about different things.
So tell us about this cruise in 2017. Dave has been bouncing all around the chat room about it. What's going on?
Well, heck, you tell me about it. You guys invited me, and I guess I have no choice but to say yes. I had nowhere to go with it. You guys said, hey, you're going.
Yeah, Dave has that effect.
I said, oh, okay. I guess I'm going on a cruise.
Oh, my poor darling. Did he have you all tied up and did he have a gun against your head or something? It sounded like it. Was he forcing you?
Well, you can't twist my arm all that bad. When they say cruise, Howard, do you want to go? How do I say no to that? Okay? I can't wait to have some fun. I know the cruises have a nice little karaoke bar as well. I'm going to invite all the guys and gals to come on out to that karaoke bar. Let's sing all night long. Let's do a couple little get-togethers on the deck out there. Have a little bit of a get-together. I'm going to be real easy to be found. I don't like hiding. I'm not the kind of person to hide away. If you say hi to me, I'm there.
Do you need the Yankee and the Brit to make you a nice shirt that says I'm Howard on it?
Well, if you want to do that, that's fine. If you can put something up there, whatever. I'd love to have you guys out there. I hope maybe you're going on that cruise too, are you?
We've been invited. We're hoping to go. But if we end up going, I will definitely come and sing a song with you.
Absolutely. I think that would be a great time to do it. I'm hoping we can get everybody out there. All I know is the cruises are a lot of fun. probably the best fun you can have on. I mean, you're sitting out there with your friends, and as a group, you know, if we have 1,000 people, 600 people, 500 people, whatever it would take, you know that 500 people will get my phone number. And that's just about the way it works. I end up having so much fun at the end of a cruise where we're talking to everybody for days on end. The cruises are such a good family event. If you've never done a cruise, you got to. It's incredible. It's incredible what you can just see out there and enjoy. It's peaceful. It's just the best place to be.
That's what we keep hearing from Mr. Dave. Do you have any hobbies or anything you do when you do have some free time?
Oh, hobbies? Well, oh my gosh. What hobbies don't I do? Let's see. I do photography, which I'm enjoying. I took and taking pictures today at the show. I make jewelry. I lived in Hawaii for a while, and I started designing seashell necklaces and bracelets, anklets, rings, earrings, everything. Started making those. Now I'm making deer antler hooks, which I wear a lot of them. You can see a lot of stuff I wear in my videos, by the way. The shell jewelry I make, I wear them in my videos. I got a story about some shells, by the way, and I'll tell you that in a moment. But I do the jewelry, and I build antique cars. I'm having a good time building my 40 Dodge Coupe right now.
Wow.
So,
What is it you're working on?
I'm working on a 40 Dodge two-door business coupe.
Oh, yes, sir.
It is going to be baby blue with a navy blue partial floor, the carpeting, the lower section of the car, the framing. It's going to be a baby blue seating and a little bit darker blue on the top. So the engine is going to be baby blue, dark blue, and navy blue. It's going to be multicolor, different parts, nuts and bolts. Everything's going to be different in that car, where the details of it will stand out just incredible.
What do you do with them? You just fix them up and sell them, or do you keep them?
I've actually sold four or five. I've already redone. I did a 53 Buick. I did a 55 Buick, 48 Chevy truck, 68 Chevelle Malibu, and for the life of me, I can't remember what else I've done. I helped a friend of mine with another Chevelle, but I'm working on my 40 Coupe right now that I'm not going to sell. It means a lot to me. I've had that for well over 20 years right now, and I want to keep that.
Where do you find time to do all of that?
You make time to do it. You get in and you just make time to do it. Finding time, I mean, look, you don't have to put 50 hours, 60 hours, 70 hours a week nonstop away from what you got to do on your family life or your home time. Make time to do things. If you don't do it, you just threw it away. I have to make time. This is my only sanity I have right now, is to enjoy making something of what my time is. So I do hobbies. I make time with things.
Have you wrote any songs? Have you wrote any songs about any of the cars or anything like that?
No, not well. Let's see. I had some kind of weird thing in a parking lot a while back. I can't remember how it goes, but I wrote it down. But not about the cars. I'd like to come up with something decent, but it would be more of a beach song, kicking back on the beach, with the car, This is going to be a baby blue car. It looks like the sun, like the sky, and it's going to be incredible. So I'll probably come up with something there.
Well, I think that's great. Joseph wants to know if you want to buy a Jeep with a heater that works.
Why? I wouldn't have a top on it anyway, right? Why would I want to buy a Jeep with a heater in it?
I guess that was some kind of Army reference or something, knowing Joseph.
Well, I don't think Army Jeeps had many heaters, That's really about the way it works.
My dad was a tank mechanic, and he shuffled his a couple colonels and sergeants around, so I got a pretty good idea what that was all about.
I got the call in Korea to move a general around. Well, during that time you had curfew and all that stuff. You really weren't supposed to be out after dark. A quick little story there. I picked up a general about 4 a.m. in the morning, had to make it to Seoul. Well, being dark and being them roads out there that are really not desirable, well, I come up on a little bump in the road. Didn't know the bump in the road was a train tracks that I played Dukes of Hazzard on that one. I was doing about 60. I hit that train track doing a pretty good clip, and for some reason I didn't feel tires on the road for a few seconds, and I launched it. I came down at the other side of it, and I said, whoa. I said, sir, you want to do it again? He said, no. But I thought it was kind of fun, actually. But I think I scared him pretty good.
Wasn't impressed with your driving skills, huh?
Well, you know what? The general kept me on for his driver for a little while. He didn't mind me driving after that, and he knew I could handle the car. So I ended up being his driver for, I guess about a month. Which was pretty nice. Very
good. Where do you record? Do you have a particular recording studio you record in, or just wherever you happen to be?
My first album here, Destruction Made Gold, was recorded down in Garland, Texas, near Dallas. That was a really nice place. McLean's recording, if anybody ever is interested. The guy is incredible. Does a great job of mastering the CDs. The second album, Old Habits Are Hard to Break, that was a friend of mine that I knew when I was in the Air Force. She and I did the album together. This was done with at the studio called After Hours. It is owned, and he records all of it and masters himself. The guy's name is Bruce Torgan. If anybody's familiar with rock and roll, he is with Foreigner. He was the bass player from Foreigner. So Bruce Torgan recorded us on that album, and a good portion of things, since we were recorded that in California, up in Redding, California, it's the home area of Merle Haggard. So Dave Haggard, Merle Haggard's son, came in and played some lead tracks on guitar. Scott Joss, fiddle player from Merle Haggard, came in and did all the fiddle tracks, and he did backup vocals for me. So, we had this album done by some high, big names. And, the strangest thing is, after we did this, I got thinking, I said, well, wait a minute, I grew up with these people in my lives, listening to them on the radio. I said, what the heck are they doing being backup vocals for me? What did I do? And it was actually quite an honor to have these people in my album. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, I would think. That's great.
And the names are proudly in there, by the way. So, oh man, it was just, to have someone of this caliber doing the music for you, it was pretty good.
That's got to be like a dream come true.
A lot of things. This whole ride has been a dream come true. I wasn't even really trying to get anywhere. I was just trying to have fun doing music. That's all I'm trying to do. But the whole ride is incredible.
Well, it sounds like you're having a hell of a ride, too.
Oh, yeah, I'm having a hell of a ride. It's keeping me busy.
Well, that's good. It's a Country Saturday night with special guest Howard Salmon on the phone with us. I don't know, you have anything else to add? You sound like a hell of a great guy to me. I know we had a nice little chat the other day when you were on the phone with us.
Yeah, we did. We really did. I was thinking, and Brit was talking.
The Brit's always talking.
I thought I was taking up pretty much the airway. I should let her talk for a while.
I thought you said you had your fill of English women.
Well, English women are okay. I mean, don't get me wrong. Don't get you wrong. I think there ought to be more of those young ladies out there. Teach us a thing or two, right?
She's what?
They ought to teach us a thing or two. How to speak English.
You're so not funny.
They can teach us English, but they don't know a thing about American.
Well, there are a few flaws, but not that bad.
Well, Howard, if you don't have anything else to add, we're going to go play a couple of your tunes.
Absolutely. Don't go right ahead. Just have fun. Put on whatever you like.
That's exactly what we're going to do. We've been talking with Howard Salmon on the RTM Radio Network on a Country Saturday night. Here's Soldiers and Truckers. Check it out.